So I'm here at the 2016 IJA with Super Scott Sorenson. We're gonna talk about juggling, and Scott's gonna give his advice. So Scott, first off, how did you start juggling?
I started in high school, and I had two friends we palled around with all the time, and both of them could juggle. It was like I was 15 years old, and it was one of those things like when you got two friends and you're always doing stuff together, and those two could juggle. I was like, oh, I have to learn. But
absolutely,
you know, I was 15, so I was too proud to ask. So I just took tennis balls one Saturday and went out to a tennis court, and I practiced morning till night.
With tennis balls?
With tennis balls.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't, you didn't know that's not the right thing to do. And so, it took until sundown, and then by it was like 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, I got 33 catches. So it was a very, very hard process.
Wow. You show your friends? Like, hey, look what I did.
Yeah, and then the next time I was like, yeah, I can juggle, and they're like, all right, let's pass. And then one guy's like, oh, there's this thing called 3-3-10, and then so you learn all the old. This was in the '80s, so like all the old passing patterns from the complete juggler.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
We went through that, and so that was how my juggling was born.
Wow.
And then we started going through the complete juggler and getting the pins.
Yeah.
It was,
So tell me then, how did you, when you started juggling, then how did that evolve into now you juggling and setting world records and so forth? What got you so much into just where you are now? I mean, from just 3 balls, why stop there? Just keep going, right?
Right. Well, doing more was always fascinating to me, because the first people I would look up, like there was so little information about jugglers, but we always had the Guinness Book of World Records, so I could look through that, and there was stuff on juggling.
Oh, cool.
And then I found Ignatov's name was the only name in there. And then another year there was Albert Lucas. So those are the two that I sought out to find more about. And then found the club, and then I met Michael Ferguson, Fergie, who made Fergie bags.
Right.
And so he's just doing 8 balls.
Right.
And so then, walked in, and that's what I wanted. I was like, all the balls in the air, it was just beautiful.
Cool.
And so I skipped a lot of tricks. Like I just went to, one pattern to the next pattern to the next pattern. Show me 5, show me 6.
So you're determined to maybe set a world record and start working on new things. I mean, that was kind of your thing, just like, you know what? I want to do what these guys are doing in this book.
Right. And so I was kind of pushing vertically in the skill, and then had to backtrack over the years to kind of widen things out to kind of even out. Because after a while, you look at yourself, you're like, I don't know very many tricks, but I juggle 7 balls. It's kind of ridiculous.
That's pretty awesome, though. I mean, you do everything. You bounce a ball on your head. I saw you here do 6 balls while bouncing a ball on your head. Right. I mean, you balance a club while doing 5 clubs.
Right, and it was because all the old timers did that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you might not see a lot of that, but that was the stuff that I watched and really enjoyed watching.
Yeah.
And you just marveled at it, like how do you bounce a ball on your head, stand on a a roller ball or a moving platform, and juggle, stuff like that.
So tell me, how does it? I mean, the practice must be a lot of hours, or how long does it take for you to kind of say, okay, I have a great practice? Is it 2 hours, 3 hours?
It's currently it's 18 to 21 hours a week. So some of those, some practice sessions are long, right?
That's a lot of juggling.
So there's already a 40-hour job.
Okay.
It's a full-time job.
So you're juggling a job, and then you juggle practice and juggling itself.
18, 21 more at the end of that. So it's a 60-hour work week.
Okay.
And then there's family.
Yeah. And there's life.
And there's no other life. That's it. That is life. Yeah. But I mean, when
20 hours a week. Yeah. Wow.
But I got it the job that I have now. They have a lobby.
Okay.
It's like an office building with a 2-story
lobby. I saw it in your YouTube
lobby.
videos.
Yeah, all my videos are in the lobby now.
Right.
And it's kind of
which I'm going to put a link in this video to his videos. Check them out; they're awesome.
Right, because if there was no place to practice, we'd be seeking other work.
I think you have the ceiling height, right? You have a nice ceiling height.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
So tell me, how does a practice schedule for you? Like, you want to just go ahead and break a world record that day, or do you just kind of say, you know what, I'm going to work on this, balls, clubs? Is there a specific way of how you practice?
Right, I'm going to do mostly ball practice and head bouncing practice, and it's going to fill at least an hour, and I'll probably break that up from everything else. So it's that's the foundation, and so I'm going to do that at lunchtime, or I'm going to do that in the morning. I'm going to do that separate from
between work.
Between work, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, skip out. It's lunch. Run
So
down.
People come outside and they see you juggle?
People are milling through the lobby, and like, I'm
awesome.
that juggler in the lobby.
That's so cool. You're like, wait a minute, I gotta get the 7-ball head balance, right now.
Right. So I'd be sitting there and drilling it, and then doing.
So you're that guy. You're that guy.
Guy in the lobby,
man, wait till you see lunchtime. This guy's juggling like
again.
crazy.
People are walking in front of you and all kinds of stuff. But that's where you do your drills. Like, okay, I'm going to do 1 minute of a 6-ball run. I'm going to do 1 minute of a 7-ball run. I'm going to do 5. You're going to do a head bounce for a minute with this trick.
Okay.
And you do all the drills.
Okay.
And you're going to do all the stuff that's not so much fun to do. You're going to do a half shower the wrong direction because it feels awkward until it feels like the right side. You're going to do everything like that you're you don't do, but you're told you should do.
Okay, so give me advice. Let's say, of course, I want to break world records in the future. Everyone does. What is an advice that you say, hey, start with this exercise, work your way up? If you have a world record, let's say if it's 12 clubs, whatever, right? And you want to break that world record, what would be your basic starting point and then reaching that record? Would you give yourself a week? Would you give yourself time limits? What do you do?
Yeah, you're going to want to have like a time saying, I'm going to go for it in this amount of time. And because you don't want to sit there and bang your head against the wall, something you're not going to get at, because then you might have to redevelop some skills. So a month max at something. And then when you build up to that, you're going to want to do long runs just below that level. So if it's an endurance record.
So let's say with 7 balls, right?
Yeah.
You want to do 5 balls for a very long time.
You're going to do 5 balls for a very long time, and you're going to do different patterns for a very long time. So you might do a reverse cascade for a minute or 2 minutes, like longer than you ever thought you would bother doing that.
Okay.
And so you're going to feel like different patterns, and you're going to have, you're going to build up an endurance for stuff that you never thought, and you're going to have kind of different muscle fibers, because then when you move to the next ball, your pattern's going to stretch out a little bit. It's going to be a little bit different, and so then you're going to do runs below what you're going to try to get to. So if you got a 7-ball record and you're trying to get past 10 minutes, right now that's a long stretch goal to get to the 10 or 15 minutes that is currently the record. And so you're going to do 1-minute runs every warm up. And then if you've got your 1-minute runs for several weeks and you can hit those, then you're going to go to 2-minute runs. Okay. You're going to keep hitting those. But just like a marathon runner, you're not going to go all the way up. You're going to take a big couple-day break, after you've had some good runs.
So breaks are important.
Yeah, you're going to take a 2-3 day break. Right. Now your muscles feel good, and then you're going to hit it as long as you can. Just like you would if you're going to run 26 miles. You're not going to run 20, 21, 22. Right. Right. You're going to have 5-mile day, 10-mile days. Yeah. 15-mile day, take 3 days off, and then you're going to hit 26.
So tell me this, what's a day of practice for you? Is it 2 hours after you get out of work? Do you feel like, okay, I'm going to do this 30 minutes and then take a break and then do this for 30 minutes? What is your program?
I'm going to hit each prop at a time, and then I'm going to take a break between props. Long, hard things, I'm going to make sure that I take a minute between long runs. Like if you were at the gym and you watch somebody lifting weights, as soon as they finish the press, they're not going to run over to the next arm exercise. They're going to pace around for 3 minutes. They're going to drink some amino acids, and then they're going to the next thing. But if you watch jugglers juggle, as soon as they drop from a long run, they're going to pick up and start dropping their hands. Like, wait, no. You watch people who know what they're doing.
Patience.
Yeah, take your time.
Take a breath.
Relax.
Breathe.
Right? Let the pulse come back down to 70s or 60s. Cool. And then just like interval training. Yeah. And then you're picking up.
Because you've broken world records. What's one of your ones that took a while to break? You would say, hey, this is one that I worked on with the program and made sure I did these steps to eventually do it.
Yeah. When I finally got 1 minute with 5 balls with a head bounce, that seemed like eternity to get up to it, because even 100 catches, you started getting swirly because you're bouncing a ball in your head, and as things start to oscillate a little bit off and a little bit off and then finally drop. So it seemed like a very long time to finally get to a whole minute, which is like 230 or 40 catches. And so I did the same thing. I ran the 5 balls as long as I could, and then run 5 balls with something slightly lesser skill, which would be a balance, and see if I can break a minute, and then 2 minutes, and then 3 minutes with the 5 balance. I think I finally did like 3.5 minutes.
Almost 3 times is what it was.
Yeah, 3 times as long as I needed, and then switch to the bounce, and then bounce a ball in my head, for many minutes until you can zone out, and it's just on your head. Wow. And then put it all together.
Super.
Yeah.
The Superman, for sure.
But it was one of those things, once you break it, just like the 4-minute mile, now a minute warm-up is not a problem. It's like 5 balls for a minute. It's kind of a warm-up. Feel good with it, and then go on to the next thing. Whereas last year, that was the pinnacle that I could do.
So you've done shows before, right? Now when you go out and do shows, do you kind of use that same regiment before you go out on stage? Do you sort of do a specific warm-up? Let's say for people at home that want to perform, what would you recommend for them to do before they go out on stage? Would they continue that same process with your practice as well?
Well, let's assume that you've run through your act, 100 times is kind of
solid. Okay.
100 times.
100 times. There you got it.
And I say that with a smirk on my face because, yes, I've done it 100 times, but nobody wants to do the same thing 100 times. This is like it's an 8-minute act. It's like, wow, this is going to take 800 hours.
Yeah.
But that's what's
consistency,
required.
yeah.
Consistency. And then even if you have, and you're going to count your drops for every one. So you're going to keep a log. And you're going to count your drops. So you do this?
You keep a log?
You're going to keep a log, and you do it. You know, I had, like, you have a bad day. You're going to have a 10 drop day and a 7 drop day. You're going to run it like 3 times that evening. And then you're going to watch it kind of improve over time, and you're going to see it oscillate. And finally you get to the zeros and the ones, you know, and you can go, hey, the last 10 I averaged 1.5 drops. You know, you get it tighter. And then as you're going through your practices, you're going to come up with a hard version of your act. And that's kind of critical. So this is all the good stuff. When I'm feeling hot, you're going to run your act with your hottest stuff.
Right.
And then you switch back to your easy stuff.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Always have a harder version of the tricks you're doing in your act to make sure that you're confident with the tricks that you are doing when you're performing.
Right.
Very important. So if you had advice to give to someone who wants to start performing whatever the tricks they're doing or acts, what kind of advice would you give to a performer that's wanting to go ahead and do it professionally?
Yeah, you're going to want to be clean, because in the professional world, they want it. They don't understand drops. Just like,
yep.
I don't know why they get it, but trapeze artists get a net. Jugglers don't get any nets.
Would be nice, right? Do you have a favorite prop that you like?
Mostly rings are my favorite.
Yeah.
Although I only have like 2 minutes of rings in this act.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of stretching myself for some of the things I don't do so much.
But your rings is like monster. You have what?
Yeah,
you do what? Like 11, 12? What is the most you've done before?
Yeah, I've thrown 12 and I've thrown 11.
12 rings.
And that was back in the 90s. And so I've kind of taken a step back, because I want 10 to feel better and I want 9 to feel better.
Awesome.
And so I've been repositioning all of my patterns around balance and bounce. So that means relearning everything. So then my 7 and 8 rings with a head bounce is.
And you believe that when you do balance, obviously it's completely different. Do you feel like you're focused more on the balance, or do you focus more on the juggle?
You're focused on the balance, and you want to try to have the juggle take care of itself. You want all the muscle memory to be able to take care of the juggle. You're just spotting it. You're aware of it.
The peripheral vision,
peripheral to what you're really paying attention to.
So it's in that area, but the balance is key.
Right. And so if you got a pattern that you don't even have to pay attention to, that's the pattern you want to keep. So then you take the balance off, and then whatever you're juggling, just smooth. Just feels like butter. So now 7 rings feels just so nice compared to a struggle that it used to be.
Awesome. Well, hey, listen, from the Superman himself, there you have it. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Sitting down, talking to me.